to attend upon the House to respond to. I would like to express gratitude, first of all, to the Right Honorable Speaker for the able manner in which he continues to steer the affairs of Parliament. As I do this, I'm mindful of the pivotal role that the leadership, in particular the majority leader and leader of the government business, together with his able lieutenants, and indeed the minority leader, together with his side of the leadership, the unwavering commitment that they have demonstrated towards the conduct of business of the House. Their commitment to strengthening our democracy is truly admirable. The smooth and efficient operations of Parliament undoubtedly largely depends on their cooperation and collaboration. As we begin this first meeting of the second session, it is necessary that we move along with you, the media, recognizing the pivotal role you play in serving as a bridge between Parliament and the people. Indeed, your work makes it possible for Parliament to reach out to all Ghanaians. And therefore, we see the greater stake that you have as far as our democratic dispensation is concerned. We know that we need to work together with you to ensure that accurate and comprehensive information about Parliament's legislative business, amongst others, is shared with the public. Upholding the principles of transparency and accountability is fundamental to our democratic system. As media professionals, your responsibility in promoting these values is of utmost importance by delivering timely and precise information about legislative agenda and the potential consequences of proposed bills. You help maintain the integrity and credibility of our democracy. While we champion robust media scrutiny to uphold Parliament's accountability, such accountability must never erode the House's procedural integrity. The media plays an essential role in building public trust, yet responsible engagement ensures that criticism, constructive engagement, amongst others, are done in a manner that will promote a healthy democracy. The media, let me state this for emphasis, the media plays an essential role in building public trust. Trust requires integrity as condition precedent. Integrity demonstrated by the House. Integrity demonstrated by the media in all that we do. Ghanaians, as any members of the public, are our judges as we discharge this responsibility. Let us commit to a symbiotic relationship where accountability elevates Parliament without compromising its solemnity. The information you disseminate must reflect the deliberations of this media briefing. As the bridge between Parliament and the public, your role is indispensable, and we value your collaborative and constructive engagement. As the second session unfolds, I urge everyone to prioritize national interest over partisanship, upholding discipline, decorum, and consensus. Together, we can deliver a parliament that represents, oversees, and legislates effectively, restoring and sustaining public confidence. We look forward to a fruitful interaction as we work towards the progress and development of our nation. Let us strive for excellence in our democratic practice while we continue to uphold the values that are essential to the growth of Ghana. This, I believe, is our charge. And this, we believe, is your charge too. Together, let us walk this talk and ensure that our democratic dispensation move on and on with your successes as we move along. I thank you.
That was very crisp and profound, Mr. Clerk. Thank you very much. We have been joined by the Deputy Clerk, IMS, Madam Rosemary Arthur-Sarkodie. Madam, you are most welcome. We are now at the high point of this engagement, and we'll hear from the Leader of Government Business, Honorable Mahama Ayariga.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to all of you.
Good morning.
First and foremost, I think we owe the public an apology because we scheduled to have this briefing at 8 a.m. this morning. I was here at 8 a.m., but I was told that you were not ready. So I went into my office, and as my schedule would have it, I had the business committee meeting as well. So the idea was to do this at 8 and then go and start the business committee. I think that was also 9 or 10, 9:30 thereabout. So I gave you 1 hour, 30 minutes, but you were not ready. So once I had started the business committee meeting, it was difficult to leave. We had to finish that before I'll be able to come and join you. So when we schedule times, let's all try to be there. My colleague, as you can see, is not here. Honorable Alexander Afenyomakin Osahini. He was also ready in the morning, but because you were not ready, he came for the business committee meeting, and he has a meeting with his newly elected flag bearer and his caucus. So they have left, and so unfortunately, you will not have the benefit of his presence unless he's able to finish that and join us before we finish what we're doing here. But it's a very simple matter, just for the education of the public. Parliament is divided into 4-year life cycles. After 4 years, the parliament ends, and that is a different parliament. And new parliament inaugurated is a different parliament. That's how come you have first parliament, second parliament, third parliament, fourth parliament. Now we have the 9th parliament. So if you start calculating from 1992, or let's say January 1993 to now, you will see that we have 9 parliaments. That is, every 4 years we had one. Now each parliament is divided into 4 sessions. So every year is one session, which is a sitting that must take place within 12 months. Shouldn't exceed 12 months. It's a session. So the 9th parliament, which is this parliament, completed the first session last December. So we are now moving into our second session, which is for the next 12 months. All the sittings will be one session. The sessions are equally divided into meetings. So the terminologies, when we use them, they can follow and understand what we are discussing, since it is the Parliament of the people. So this is the first meeting of the second session of the 9th Parliament. And the Press and Public Relations Departments have developed an annual culture of making sure that at the beginning of every meeting, we take time to brief the media on what to expect during that meeting. And that is what this morning's briefing is about. We expect in this meeting to take the President's report on the state of the nation. That's a major item of this meeting. That's a major item of this meeting. Just like last meeting of last session, the major item was the budget, if you recall. So usually in each meeting, there's something major that occurs during that meeting. So I would say that the major highlight of this meeting will be the President's presentation of the State of the Nation report to Parliament, pursuant to the constitutional obligation that he has. And so you should be preparing towards that. Apart from that, we will, this meeting, be focusing on passing bills that we could not pass in the last meeting. If you recall, a number of bills came and we couldn't take them because we're busy with the budget. I will go through the details later with you. Some ministers also have new bills that they want to bring to us to consider. I will mention some of them in due course. As we speak, we're actually having meetings with the ministers to have a sense of every minister's agenda for Parliament, what approvals they will need during this meeting of Parliament. And even as we are sitting here, the Minister of Finance is sitting in my office waiting for me to come back so that they can give an indication of what their priorities will be this meeting. And as usual, members of Parliament will be asking questions on all sorts of issues and relating to their constituencies and constituents to ministers, and they will be answering them. We have a backlog of about 300 questions, 300 outstanding questions that we couldn't take from the previous meetings, and we are determined to try and then cover as much as we can, if not clear all, and add the new questions that members will be asking. And so we just finished a business committee meeting at which we try to develop modalities to ensure that we are able to expedite action on getting members' questions asked and answered by ministers. Then, of course, there are a number of referrals that we have made to committees. You know, every agency in this country tends to report to Parliament, sometimes directly, sometimes through their ministers. There are two reports. There's the audit report. That one goes to Public Accounts Committee. So what you see them do at Public Accounts Committee is to find out monies given to you, did you spend it, did you not spend it, did you spend it properly, did you not spend it properly. That is kind of financial accountability. But there's a second set of reporting, which is we gave you the money to provide schools and teachers and to teach children so that they can perform well. Are you performing well in that regard? That is not financial accountability. That's really delivering on social services, delivering on infrastructure services, and etc. Now, those reports have tended not to receive that much attention in this House. And we have insisted that committees must begin to take those reports seriously, because really, that is what the money is all about. I've given you money to go and educate children, and then you've come to tell me, yes, you spend the money, but you haven't told me whether the children are getting well educated or not. And I haven't interrogated you on whether the children are getting well educated or not. I'm feeling my responsibility in that regard. So Ghanaians expect that the institutions will get better, the institutions will deliver, and it is Parliament that those institutions tend to report to. And if those institutions are not delivering, it means that Parliament is not doing its work. Parliament is not holding them accountable in terms of what they are to deliver on. And so this meeting also, we intend to be very stern on committee chairpersons and ranking members, and insist that all the reports that come from agencies regarding deliverables that we expect from those agencies are scrutinized and debated on the floor of the House, and not just scrutinized and debated, but hearings similar to what you see in the Public Accounts Committee. So Ghana Education Service, come, sit there, tell us, why did all the children fail? You must explain to Parliament. We are the representatives of the people. You have to tell us, you have to explain the WAEC results to us. And you must explain it properly. Otherwise, sanctions has to flow. And, you have to tell us what you will do to improve the situation in the ensuing years. That's what this accountability mechanism is all about. And the idea of sitting public servants before us and before you, the cameras, and asking them questions on their performance, not accounting, but the actual performance, has a way of also putting pressure on them to deliver. And so we intend to take that responsibility seriously, starting from this particular meetings. I must admit that the institutions send the reports. They always send the reports. It is Parliament that does not do what is required of it, which is to sit, invite them, scrutinize the report with them, get to the field, verify whether indeed what they say in the report is consistent with what is actually happening out there, and take them on, and then demand accountability for their side of the bargain to the citizenry for which they are paid. So those will engage our attention. Beyond that, I think the regular parliamentary schedules, motions, agreements, policy documents, for instance, the medium-term national development policy framework, which is a constitutional obligation, will come to us. The coordinated policies will come to us. The National Action Plan for and Human Rights will come to us. So similar policy documents will be presented to us, and then we'll work on them. Sorry, I'm having a bad cough. So let me just indicate a few major items that we intend to look at this. So we already have some bills to be presented immediately we start. University of Engineering and Agricultural Science, Bonsu Bill, Ghana Cocoa Board Amendment Bill, which is already before us, an amendment to the Cocoa Board Bill, Ghana Cocoa Board Act. We have the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill, seeking to restructure and reorganize our security and intelligence agencies and the mechanisms of oversight. We have the Interstate Succession Bill. We have the Legal Education Reform Bill. We have the Ghana Investment Promotion Authority Bill. These are bills that are already here. Many of you journalists who have been covering this house are familiar with those bills. We have about, how many reports? There are 299 reports. 299 reports pending before various committees. Actually, there are 300 reports pending before various committees. And then we have questions, outstanding questions, about 300 before us. Some ministers have given indications regarding bills that they will bring, but I tend not to focus on what ministers indicate because it's not yet here. So it's not really the business of Parliament. But the Minister for Energy plans to bring a bill to enact a new National Petroleum Authority Act. They also want to bring a bill to establish a Ghana Bunkering Services Agency. And then also, as you would recall, there is a program to involve the private sector in electricity distribution. And these are things that would have to come to Parliament for approval. There's been a lot of renegotiation of the various power purchase agreements with independent power producers. These are matters that have to come to Parliament. The Nuclear Power Corporation Bill will also come. There's a proposal to establish a Renewable Energy Authority. So the bill to establish that will also be here. And then there's a new proposal to merge PURC and EC to establish the Ghana Energy Regulatory Commission. So a bill to that effect will come. And then some regulations relating to the West Africa gas pipeline will also come from the Ministry of Energy, but they haven't come yet. Then for Minister of Local Government, they intend to transform the Local Government Training Institute into a University of Governance and Development. So a bill to that effect will come. Then they intend to amend the Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority to establish a mechanism for how to use their fund. Then there's some proposals to amend the Chieftaincy Act. The abolition of some development authorities, the Coastal Belt Development Authority and the Middle Belt Development Authority, but we never passed the legislation to abolish them. So the bills to abolish them will also come this meeting. And then, of course, they have a couple of, the Local Governance Act itself will be amended. They are working on it. They will bring it to us. Then they have several legislative instruments. There's one instrument that they intend to bring to reconstitute regional houses of chiefs. So many paramountcies have been established, and so they need to add newly established paramountcies to there are various regional houses of chiefs, and that has to come by legislative instrument. And also, the National House of Chiefs has been working on lines of succession to stools and skins, and I believe they are done, and a legislative instrument to legislate what they have done will also be coming from the Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs. And Minister of Health is looking at breastfeeding promotion regulations to be brought to encourage breastfeeding. Then the National Vaccine Institute regulation will also be brought. And then alcohol control regulations will also be brought. And then Ghana Medical Trust Fund, that is Mahama Care's regulations, will also be brought to give effect to the act which we passed in the last meeting. Then for Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, there is going to be an overhaul of the entire mining sector regulation. And they've been working on it for a while now. The bill is now ready. They will go through cabinet shortly and bring it here. They promised to get it to us in the next couple of weeks, this meeting. And so it will be a comprehensive overhaul of the current minerals and mining regime. So a new minerals and mining bill will come. Then they also have a draft Ghana Geological Survey Authority, geological information and licensing agreement regulations. And then they have some bauxite mining leases they will bring to us to ratify, and other mining leases. And then they will bring the minerals and mining royalties regulations. You recall that government has been saying that when world gold prices go up and we have our royalties stuck in time, we don't benefit as the prices go up and all that. So we want to develop a new regime that ties royalties to world market prices. If the world market prices go up, we too, our royalties should go up. If it comes down, we too, our royalties should come down. And that's only fair, isn't it? So that's something that will come before us for consideration. And then the Lands Act needs a legislative instrument, which will also come. And the National Geospatial Policy will come, and the Survey Council Bill will come. Wildlife Resource Management Regulations will also come. So those are what we expect from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Then we are looking at Environment Ministry, and they plan to bring legislative instruments to regulate standards for paints, the paints that you use to paint your buildings or properties. Standards must be set, and they are bringing regulations to set those quality standards for all paints that should be imported or manufactured in this country. And then also a legislative instrument to commence a chartered environmental management practitioner certificate program to meet the requirements in Section 31 of the Environmental Protection Act. Then an instrument to control noise pollutions from various sources. I mean, noise pollutions have become a major hazard in our communities. People can't sleep because people will be playing music, people will be engaged in religious activities at times when the neighborhoods in which those religious institutions are sited may prefer to have some less noise. In other jurisdictions, all religious activities are done in confined places where they are not allowed to escape out of the precincts of that establishment. If there are outdoor events, the location of those outdoor events should be such that they don't disturb others who want to sleep at that time. So the Environmental Protection Agency, through the Minister for Environment, is bringing a legislation to control noise pollution from various sources to protect human health and the environment. And then regulations to regulate coastal habitats, protect and preserve and restore coastal ecosystems. Then, of course, they have a few bilateral environmental agreements that they will bring in to us to consider, and then, if it's okay, approve for them. Then we have the Minister of Defense will bring a proposal to transform the Defense Industries Holding Company Limited, DHOC, into a Defense Industrial Development Corporation. So there will be a bill to that effect. And they also want to establish a defense university because they have several colleges. They have several defense colleges. They have the Institute. They're already awarding degrees and diplomas, even doing PhDs, and affiliated to other universities. So they feel that given the number of institutions that they have, it will be strategic to bring all that under one umbrella and then have it established as a university with different departments. And they will be bringing a bill to establish a defense university or defense studies university. Other jurisdictions have defense studies universities who provide a lot of degrees and courses in Europe in defense matters. So I think that it is good. And Ghana has a very enviable track record in terms of our achievements in maintaining peace and security. And we believe that if we establish a defense university, it will also help raise funds for them because many people will come here to obtain degrees. Of sports and recreation, we passed the Sports Fund Act last meeting, and there are regulations needed to give effect to some of the provisions in the Act 1159. And so the regulations will come this meeting, and then also the National Sports College, Winneba, will now have a law to back it. So a bill will come to establish the National Sports College in Winneba. Then also we will seek an amendment to the Sports Act of 2016 at 934. Then we'll try and operationalize the Ghana Anti-Doping Act by passing regulations for the implementation of the Ghana Anti-Doping Act so that we can have clean sports. And he also says he will bring us the National Sports Policy and Strategy. Minister of Tourism, Culture and then Creative Arts, they will bring a bill to establish the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park as an authority. Then they will bring a bill to establish the Ghana Bureau of Languages also as an authority. So that's what we have for tourism.
What we saw was that people were even recruited as far back as 2017 were all sacked. And our motion to get the matter investigated by Parliament is still hanging in the balance. We pray that we're able to get Mr. Speaker's audience to fully hear us so that a body is set up to look into that matter. Cost of living and inflation. Yes, we've been told that inflation has dropped sharply. But many families are still not feeling that real relief, because if you take electricity tariffs, government so far has increased electricity tariffs up to 27%. It is huge cost to the ordinary Ghanaian. And whereas they took away the e-levy, they introduced the Dumsor levy, meaning that every liter of petrol you buy, you pay 1 Ghana cedi. So more Ghanaians are being burdened more than the e-levy that they came to repeal. So again, there isn't much relief. Ghanaians are being burdened the more. I've spoken about the unemployment situation, but let me give you the real numbers. The report is that we have some 34.4 youth unemployment rate, and this is very unacceptable. The question is, where are the jobs, given all the promises? While the NDC was quick to roll out programs on paper, we hear a Jumawura National Apprenticeship Program and Kokon Kete. Well, they are paper promises, but in reality, what are the tangible outcomes? Even if any existed, they are scanty, and this is their year 2. The honeymoon is over. They have cancelled the 1D, 1F. In its place, there is no alternative policy program for the private sector. I've not heard the Minister of Trade and Industry announcing a major private sector initiative to create economic growth. Zero. Yet they have cancelled the 1D, 1F. They promised public sector reforms, but so far the minister responsible for public sector reform cannot be found. We've not seen any major announcement, even in the budget, as if that ministry is non-existent. So in terms of public sector reforms, we are yet to see any serious intervention. We hold a view that in this meeting, the majority should be more accommodating. They must hear us. They must allow the minority to do more advocacy. We expect Speaker to be admitting more and more of our motions. Last year, we went through a lot of frustrations. You file a motion, decline, and sometimes it comes in at a late hour, 11th hour. A typical example was the motion we filed on the CJ nomination. We filed it on time, and we wanted to advocate our issues on the House floor over 2 weeks. It was midnight of the Friday preceding the Monday where we were going to do the vetting that the clerk communicated that our motion has been rejected. I mean, that was quite frustrating. And you know, when we tried to deal with our issue at the vetting, the majority leader decided to use a tactics of point of order to keep us struggling. But it's all part of politics. He has his strategy. We must also have our strategy. But we think that the essence of this parliamentary politics is to give every party stakeholder the opportunity. So we look forward to much more engagement on that field. To conclude, I would say that the minority has not been obstructive. We've been largely cooperative. If you look at last year, the ministerial nominees, only 2 or 3 were voted on. But almost all of them, we took them by consensus. And in fact, we approved them on record time because we took a view that we don't have to allow the ministry for civil servants to operate. Government needed to have the ministers to take responsibility. So we set a record time approval for them, which has never happened in our Fourth Republic. Again, if you look at most of the bills that came through regular channels. We cooperated with them through winnowing, through amendment on the floor, to take them by consensus. Government programs that came, we raised our critical issues, but we were not obstructive. We understand the fact that governance must have a seamless, space, but at the same time, we must not yield to our duty to scrutinize. I have been a majority leader before, and I know how difficult it is to run government business on the House floor. So I'll be the last person to deliberately frustrate government business. That notwithstanding, I have a duty also to democracy to hold the government to account. And that has been our work. It's not everybody will be happy with us, but we leave our records for history to judge. Thank you very much indeed. And sorry, I have to rush out because my colleagues have already taken the lead to the flag bearers' residence. Leader, thank you for indulging me. But don't throw many more low blows in my absence. I know you're a gentleman. You won't take advantage of my absence to hit me hard. At least just respond.
Thank you very much. We will give the leader of the House the opportunity to continue from where he stopped. Over to you, leader.
So we were Can I continue? Okay, so we want to thank the Honorable Minority Leader for his brief comments. We appreciate that he has to be absent. His presence would have enriched the discussions, but unfortunately he has to leave. So we're on bills. Minister of Education intends to bring an amendment to the education regulatory bodies, and then also they intend to bring a new bill for the Ghana Book Development Council. And I already mentioned the University of Engineering and then Agricultural Science in Bonsu. And an amendment to College of Education Act. If you recall, we transformed those colleges to universities. So there will be an amendment to cater for that. And then the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply Ghana bill will be brought. And then there will be a bill to establish the Center for Distance Learning and Open Schooling, which is CENLOS. And he will bring some regulations to govern the activities of National Teaching Council, and then the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, National School Inspectorate Authority, and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. They all need some regulations passed, and the minister has indicated that this meeting he will bring those regulations. The minister for so the Minister for Transport will bring Maritime and Related Offences Bill, road traffic regulations to deal with the Okada legalization and the discipline that is needed on the roads by Okada riders and tricycle riders, and then the Ghana Shippers Council regulations. And we are changing the name of our airport from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So a bill will be brought by the Minister for Transport for the name of the airport to be changed from Kotoka International Airport to Accra International Airport. So the Accra International Airport bill will also come. And then they will ask us to approve some international bilateral agreements and multilateral agreements for them. And Minister of Interior will continue to have the Security and Intelligence Agencies Bill considered by Parliament. And then a new community service bill, will be dealt with this meeting. The whole idea is to, provide for alternative sentencing so that for every trivial offense, one does not have to go and be lying in Sawam and congesting our prisons and be fed for doing nothing. So you can provide community service instead of being sent to Sawam. So we need to have that. And then they also have some other regulations governing gaming, birthright, diaspora certificate bill also come. Review of Extradition Act 1960 and others. So those are the programs of the Minister of Interior. And the Minister of Communication has so many things that they hope to bring. But we will wait because the indication I got from him from our meeting yesterday was that he's at the concluding stages of drafting those bills. My sense is that they may not come this meeting, so I will not bore you with all the details, but there are so many bills that, about 10 bills that he intends to bring. Some of them are new proposals, others are revision of old legislation that have been with us. Some of them were passed 25 years ago, and the IT sector has been changing. And so legislation needs to be updated to meet the changing landscape of IT and communication technology. So he's revising all this legislation, virtually overhauling the entire regime. And he will be bringing those ones as and when they are ready. And then the last is the Attorney General, and the Conduct of Public Officers Bill will be brought by the Attorney General. The Conduct of Public Officers Bill, it was approved by Cabinet, but also know that there are aspects of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill that are constitutional matters. So they are also, I believe, part of the report and recommendations of the Constitutional Review Committee. Then we have a proposal to pass a new Economic and Organized Crime Act, trying to modernize the existing EOCO and provide it a legislative regime that address some critical financing issues that they face. Then, of course, the Legal Profession Bill, which will complement the Legal Education Reform Bill. The Legal Education Reform Bill will set out a whole program of how you now become a lawyer. But the Legal Profession Bill, there will be an amendment there that will deal with something that is a bit of a problem, which is when we start debating the new legal education reform bill, you will see the trajectory of things. But in it is some requirement of quality assurance in terms of the law degrees that are coming from universities. Because if you take out law school and then you introduce bar exam at the end of it, then you have to make sure the law faculties who are awarding the degrees are really proper and they are able to maintain the standards. And so the Legal Profession Bill is dealing with that component. And then finally, we will have the Tribunals Bill coming. You recall in the NDC manifesto, we said we will establish tribunals. So the Tribunals Bill will come, and then there will be some amendments to the Supreme Court rules, the Court of Appeal rules, and the High Court Civil Procedure rules. But most of those amendments are really to account for the role of IT in, legal processes, how you can file, applications online, how you can serve documents online, and etc. to take advantage of the new technologies for fast-tracking litigation. So those are the major concerns of the amendments. There are other things that will be captured in the amendments to the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and High Court rules. But those are the main things. So I have taken you through generally what to expect in terms of this Parliament. The last one is the Economy Authority Bill, which is ready. Even, I think, late. It was late in the last meeting, and so we will take it this time. And so that responds to what my colleague raised about the 24-hour economy and the absence of some clarity as to what it is. But 24-hour economy is not a complicated matter. It just means that we want to create a situation where our economy works 24 hours. It doesn't work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then we all close and then we go home. How can we work 24 hours? One, you need to invest in security to make sure that shops are able to open at night. Restaurants, can stay as late as possible. Fuel stations can operate 24 hours instead of closing at 9 or 10 p.m. for fear of security. And factories can function, 24 hours. And services can be provided 24 hours, like we're already doing at the port. How can you make sure that, at night when people are sleeping, the port can be busy, and the trucks can be moving out with the goods, so that during the daytime when we ordinary people want to use the streets, trucks are not also struggling to evacuate goods from the ports. And basically, at night when people are sleeping, the port can be busy. The factories will need additional labor to execute for the other hours, in addition to the hours that they're already executing. The service providers will need additional labor to execute, and that creates jobs, and then also it increases productivity. But I think that my friends in the minority need to understand that even if you introduce the best of security in the country and you provide the best of incentives, and banks are going to go and borrow money at 32% interest rates or 23% interest rates, at 32% interest rate or even 40% interest rate, as we're seeing, even if you created whatever environment for them, they can't function at that cost of borrowing. If they have to exchange dollar at a certain rate to go and then buy inputs for production, when they produce, very few people can afford. If inflation is galloping and then people cannot afford, no matter what kind of economy you create, it won't just work. So inputs for production, when they produce, very few people can afford. If inflation is galloping and then people cannot afford, no matter what kind of economy you create, it won't just work. Industrial sector, on the service sector, banks are chasing companies with money at much, much lower interest rates than 2 years ago. And everybody knows that. Interest rates have come down, exchange rate has come down, the CD has appreciated in value, inflation has come down significantly, utilities are stabilizing, and the services are also relatively consistent. Electricity is on all the time. Still some challenges with providing adequate water supply, all that being fixed. Those are the fundamental issues that sometimes make it impossible for industries to even function. And this government has invested a lot in terms of policies and leadership to deal with those issues. And the results are out there for everybody to see. And all that is having a significant impact on decisions of industries to expand, recruit more people, and then also, to be able to run 24 hours. So I can assure him that slow but sure, this government is delivering on all facets of the promises that we made to Ghanaians. Now, the issue of certificate of urgency when it comes to work that we do in Parliament, it's exaggerated because he knows that a lot of the bills that we take through certificate of urgency are bills that are... Now, the issue of certificate of urgency when it comes to work that we do in Parliament, it's exaggerated because he knows that a lot of the bills that we take through certificate of urgency are bills that have already come to this House. We've referred the bill to a committee. The committee goes, consults stakeholders, and sometimes the revisions are so fundamental, the changes are significant, and the number of changes are many. And when that happens, normally the committee chair will come and ask for leave from us so that the minister will take the bill back, go and incorporate all the changes that the MPs have made at committee stage, and then bring back a new bill capturing what has already been incorporated by the MPs. Now, when those bills come, we deem it unnecessary to go through the entire process again because it's come before us. We've looked at it. We've recommended a change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The changes are so many that we don't want to spend all the time on the floor doing it. So just go and change it and bring it back to us. So when those bills come, we then ask for leave to withdraw the old bill and then replace it with the revised back. We're satisfied, so we took it through certificate of urgency. So when you present to the public as if we are not diligent, we don't pay attention to the work that we've been asked to do, and so we rush things through, it's not true. It's not, and it's not fair to the records. And this is not the first time we're doing this. This has always been the practice of this House. I put out a press statement and I pointed to not less than 52 or 56 bills that were passed under certificate of urgency when he was leader. So I don't see why today you would make so much noise about passage of bills through certificate of urgency. Even today as we sit, I'm in serious negotiations with the Minister for Justice and Attorney General because the legal profession, the Legal Education Reform Bill, during recess, the MPs were busy working on it. They consulted all stakeholders, all the law schools in this country, the Bar Association, everybody. They came with quite significant revisions of the proposal coming from government. So they've taken it back to the Attorney General that he should incorporate all the things that the bar is saying, the law schools are saying, the deans are saying. And so the AG today is pleading with me that let me come and withdraw the old one and introduce the new one that has all the revisions. And I'm saying that Afanya is kicking against certificate of urgency bill. So bring it and let's go through it that way in the chamber. You know, so that is what it is. It's not as if we're doing a lousy work. In fact, the committee met for several days, you know, during recess. I'm sure some of you covered their proceedings. So I know that they worked. So we don't just, you know, fast track bills and not give it the level of attention that is needed. On that note, let me thank you for listening, and we'll give you the opportunity to ask questions. We're supposed to start sitting at exactly 12. And I'm not sure I'm even prepared, but we have just 25 minutes to wrap up this so that we can be in the chamber to start the House. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Leader. We will now take questions. You indicate your interest when recognized. You introduce yourself by mentioning your name and the media house you represent. Please, let's keep the questions very concise. Emmanuel Akoli.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel Akoli of PSMFL. Leader, you made reference to about 300 outstanding questions from the previous meeting. May I know steps being taken by leadership to reduce number of outstanding questions, since some questions may lose their relevance when the time comes for them to be answered. My last question is about the State of the Nation address by the President. Even though it may not be in your domain to fix the date for the program, may I know if you can give us some idea about when this will take place? I mean, the State of the Nation address. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Christian Peterson. I report for the Insight and Natural Resources News. Leader, you so eloquently spoke about the 24-hour economy. In my preview of resumption today, I herald the 24-hour economy as a major item for this meeting. And your campaign promise hinges so much on this policy. Will you be prioritizing this bill since it has what it takes to provide that environment for actualizing this promise of yours? Secondly, is about time consciousness. You were here very early and you were not here. It reflects so much in attendance to the chamber business, especially when the House suspends the Speaker say 30 minutes. We discuss that among us a lot. If he says 30 minutes, we say, oh, it's 2 hours. And it happens so often. This meeting, what assurance do we have from you to ensure time consciousness? And lastly, has to do with your commitment to, it's refreshing to hear your 2022-2023 report for PIAC featured so much on the other paper, and it never got taken to the 8th Parliament was dissolved. And so for me, it's refreshing to hear your commitment about ensuring that these reports from our public institutions are taken, because that is where the citizens will go to know Parliament's interest. Thank you.
Question at a time. Kofedu.
Thank you very much, Doc. Leader, my name is Ernest Kofedu.
Kofedu.
Thank you very much, Doc. Leader, my name is Ernest Kofedu. I report for Daily Guide newspaper. I had wanted to ask. There are so many bills that you have listed or announced to us. What are the major ones that can be done within the 100 days of Parliament? And I was expecting you to account to us at the last session the things that you promised us and the deliveries that you have made. Specificity, those ones that you have been able to achieve and those you couldn't. How are you going to also deal with challenges of the last session, respect to quorum issues, debates, walkouts, and other things? How best can you address this in this session? Thank you.
Kweku.
My name is Kweku Sechidan, so I work with GhanaMPs.com. Leader, I just want to find out if we are reverting back to the morning sitting, or in this section we'll have the afternoon sitting. Thank you.
Aveji. After that, we will give leader opportunity to respond, then we'll go there.
My name is James Aveji. I report for Joy News and Joy FM. Leader, one key incident that got all of us worried, including Parliament and the public, has been the incident of the vetting night, which the Speaker himself in his statement said has tarnished the image of Parliament, and formed a committee to look into that. Did I want to know, that report we know is ready, would it be brought to the floor? What decision will be taken? And do we have the assurance that that will be done in this session? Thank you.
Leader, please. I'll be very, very straight. 300 outstanding questions. This morning's business committee meeting, as leaders, we thought through how to expedite action on that. We'll have a meeting with the ministers, and then we will figure out with the ministers how we can get them to be available to answer those questions. And then also, we want to have an understanding among ourselves about follow-up questions, supplementary questions. Those are usually the problem. Somebody comes to ask a question, and then everybody has a supplementary question. So you take one question, and then you use 1 hour to ask one question and answer it, and that will waste time. So if we can agree among ourselves that, we can't spend beyond 2 minutes, 3 minutes on any question. Most of the time, you will notice that the answer has already been provided in writing. So the media can pick it up from there, and then your constituents can also pick it up from there. And we give the questioner, the MP, an opportunity to ask it orally. The minister should just give basic highlights of the answer. The other thing that we can do is to also restrict ministers to how much space you can use to answer a question. Because sometimes you ask a minister a question and he will use 5 pages to answer the question. 3 pages are background. We just want the conclusion. So, and then also the MPs, ask one straight question. Don't ask 5 questions in one and then force the minister to write a comprehensive report. So those are the things that we discussed this morning as mechanisms to be used to have questions expedited. In some jurisdictions, questions, it doesn't take 2 minutes and the question is done. Same way with statements, you can't bring a statement that is more than 3, 4, 5 minutes. And comments on it cannot exceed another 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then many people get the opportunity to. And then also, they actually use restrictions on number of questions that any MP can ask in any meeting. So this meeting, you have only 2 questions, so choose 2 of the most critical questions in your constituency and ask. You can't come every morning that you're asking a question, because that also drags ministerial time. They have to leave the work in the ministry and every day be queuing to answer questions, and that's an issue. So now I can't tell you when. It depends on the president and his team and when they are ready. But we are here, so when they are ready, we are ready. 24-hour economy, definitely we're going to prioritize it. Time consciousness, I will push for all of us to be time conscious. Suspensions, and when we resume, that one is speaker's matter. I cannot I cannot sit here and authoritatively tell you that, when speaker says 5 minutes, it will be 5 minutes. I'll be sitting there at the 5 minutes time, but whether he will come back 5 minutes depends on why he went on the suspension. Yes, we'll take the reports and then make sure that reports don't stay by, with the parliament. In fact, I am insisting, and this morning, and the clerk was here, I insisted that, committee chairpersons must. And so we're going to forcefully schedule committee chairpersons, and they must come and take their reports on those days. Otherwise, sanctions would be implemented. And we made that very clear at business committee meeting today. 100 days, what can we do? If we are serious, we can do a lot of these things within 100 days. But we don't have 100 days, we have 8 weeks. I'm not sure 8 weeks it gives us 100 days, because we only have four sitting days in a week. So multiply the 4 by 8, and that gives you the number of days. So we don't have 100 days. But I believe that if we work as planned, some of the things that I've mentioned to you are actually not bills that are before us in this house. I just indicate, I said the minister plans to bring that. The bills that are actually before us are few. And if we really work at it, we should be able to deal with all of them. We want to avoid this practice where ministers wait till last minute, then they bring us bill, and then we force you to sit till midnight, till early hours of the morning, trying to pass the bill for them because they'll come and say, oh, this is an IMF conditionality, that one is an international agreement, and there's a deadline for all countries to meet it, and all that. Vetting committee, certain times, it will remain afternoons until Speaker says otherwise. So Speaker hasn't said otherwise, so my assumption is that we are continuing to sit in the afternoons. Then the vetting committee report. Yes, the committee report, I believe, is ready, and I believe that Speaker will look at it, and then we will get some indication what to do about it. I agree with you that it's a matter that dents the image of Parliament, and Parliament must seem to also be accountable in terms of its conduct. So I have no doubt that in due course, Speaker will give some direction on taking that particular report. Otherwise, I think I've answered all your questions.
Okay, Val.
Yeah, some of the questions were not answered about the challenges that you faced in the last session. Issue of quorum was a major issue on the floor of Parliament. Walkouts and others. How are you going to deal with this in this session?
I don't think there was an issue of quorum. The minority was mischievous. At all times, they will get up and say, there's no quorum, there's no quorum. It's a drama of the House. Anytime I needed the numbers, I got the numbers, if you recall. Anytime I needed the numbers to pass anything, within a short time, the numbers will be in the chamber. But my friends on the other side, when they see that they are not sitting in the chamber, they will start making noise. There's no quorum, and where are your people, and etc. You can't find your people to do business. But ultimately, the business will be passed. So we encourage the MPs to sit in the chamber and do work. But also, we must appreciate the fact that all the work is not in the chamber. A lot of work is also outside the chamber. And then also a lot of constituency work is even outside the building, in the ministries and agencies, following up on issues concerning one's constituency. And also, sometimes when there's a business in the House, because of the restriction on how many people should comment, a lot of them come and sit, and then they never get to comment. So it gets boring for them. And so they say, well, if I even go there, they will not allow me to comment. So why don't I just go and attend to my constituency issue? When they need me, they'll call me. So that is also part of the reason. So if you observe, sometimes when there's an issue, so how many people from each side? 2-2. You recall. Now when you say 2-2, it means that the rest of the 100 and something people on my side will not get to even comment. So if you, every day you say 2-2, every day you say 3-3, then the people will be they're bored, and then they'll just take a decision that I'll sit in my office and rather work. When I'm needed, they'll ring, and then I'll come and then participate in the vote. So that is also one of the issues that is causing MPs not to be sitting in the chamber 24 hours. But when I say there's no issue of quorum, what I really mean is that anytime we need the numbers, we will get the numbers. Sometimes you reach out to your colleagues on the other side and say, well, this is what we are doing today. Can we have your assurance that we can take it through? They are giving the assurance. But in the middle of things, there's disagreement on something else, and they want to visit the punishment on another matter. And so they start raising quorum, even though you agreed among yourselves that on this issue, we can pass it. But they will now say, okay, well, since you didn't treat me well on this matter, I'll raise the issue of quorum. So that you will have to wait and go and call your members to come and help you pass it. But it's fun sometimes, but it's not really fatal because I can assure you that when we need the numbers, we always have them. What other issue did you say was not answered? You wanted to know about the achievements. We didn't report on the achievements. Normally, we do that during the closing session. So if you followed last closing session, we reported on all that we achieved during that session. So for these briefings, we were forward-looking, what we will do. Then the day we are rising, we deliver a statement and then we summarize everything that we succeeded in doing that session. So if you take the Hansard for that day, you will see the achievements of the last meeting.
Thank you very much, Leader. We take the last set of 5. Valencia.
I think the leader has already answered my question. Mine was also about the attendance. MPs coming into the chamber, because I remember, anytime you come to Parliament or you come to the chamber, you see a handful of MPs in the chamber, and it doesn't really look good when our cameramen zoom out the chamber and you see you can even count them, about 20, 15 MPs. And I quite remember I did a story on that. Whether our MPs are dodging their work in the chamber or they are doing more than the cameras are capturing. So I think he has already answered that question. So we hope to see.
Thank you. Ohene.
Thank you very much. My name is Ohene Mponsa. I work for Adom TV and Adom FM. I pray that my question, if it's possible, can be handled by the clerk and then the leader. So Parliament has rules that are applied to actions and inactions of parliamentarians. In the past, we have seen some actions or some acts of MPs. We come to the chamber, it's announced, committees are going to be sitting on certain occurrences, and we never get to know what happened to it at the end of it. My question is that these things are really, giving Parliament a bad name out there. Practically, what is the House doing in making sure that if the leader of government business falls foul of the law is applied, or the rules are applied to him, so that people outside, Ghanaians, will see that indeed. Because many times they meet you and they say, hey, your MPs are fighting and don't you have rules, and they are walking like that. What are we doing, Mr. Clark and leader of government business? Thank you very much.
Prince.
Thank you. My name is Prince Alva, UTV. Leader, this application, I believe you granted for the clerk to answer this question for me. When you read Article 106 of the 1992 Constitution, that deals with the issue of certificate of agency. I believe it deals with how bill should be gazetted, and then how the agency of the bill probably will compare Parliament in order to fast track. That be to skip that 14 days to fast track the debate. Minority, not once, not two. They've raised these concerns. Today in your presence, leader, they have raised the issue of certificate of agency. That notwithstanding, some of your members do sometimes complain that when it keeps coming, like certificate of agency, they may not be abreast with the issue. So that tomorrow when any radio station, any TV station call them to speak to that issue to become an issue. And leader, if you recall, this is my personal observation. I'm not saying it's the position of the House. Anytime you are not in the House or you are not in the chamber, members find it so difficult to debate on issue. The judiciary, they fumble on issues. It's a fact. So, leader, would you consider the position of minority, even though the Constitution supports the position of the certificate of agency, but will you put hold to the certificate of agency for members to read through the document before the passage of that document? Thank you.
Kofi Donago.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Kofi Donago. I'm associated with Climate Communications and Local Governance Africa. Leader, climate affects all facets of our economy. Currently, US is opting out from UNFCCC and also climate-related issues. Leader, will you say that Parliament would integrate climate-related activities in all our activities. I mean, what we do as an institution, because economy or an institution that is just talking about climate-related matters will be failing, and they are failing. And that is what US, as we speak right now, will be failing in some issues because of climate-related matters. Having said that, journalism has moved beyond just reporting, but having context and analysis, and also educating public. Now, the members of the press corps, I think that we need a lot of training and capacity building to be able to follow, issues, because as we speak right now, I have seen that